like we really need an excuse to eat more cookies. Good morning. So for today's video, we're doing a pregnancy update for 8 weeks. I'm actually technically 9 weeks now, but there's been a lot going on in the past little bit, so I'll catch you up on that now. I was getting really sick, so they prescribed some diclectin to me, and when they prescribed it, they prescribed it for only 2 days. So I ended up having to call them back, and they said no, it was supposed to be, actually it was 3 days. So when I called them back, they said it was actually supposed to be for 2 months. So he sent in another prescription and I had to go pick that up. However, that's not helping. So I ended up calling them back, and they said basically, you know, since it's so bad, because I have lost a lot of weight. I started out a lot, I hadn't lost all the pre-pregnancy weight from Eli yet, so I was about 128 or 129 pounds, although I'm normally 125 or 120 to 125. So now I'm about 121-ish. And pretty much can't eat anything, and it's gotten really bad in the past week where at night especially the diclectin is just not enough. So when I called back the doctors, they said, yeah, you probably have something that's called Hyperemesis gravidarum, and I know that there are several people out there that have had it before as well. I know how much it sucks. So basically what it is really severe morning sickness where you can't even have like water or anything. From the start of my pregnancy, I was really sick. So I was having my vitamins in liquid form. Jameson has a multivitamin that's pink lemonade that you can put in your water and then sip it throughout the day, and that was my way of getting vitamins. But now it takes me about 2 days to get through that. That's about 750 milliliters of water, and it takes me about 2 days to get through that if I want to be able to drink it, and those are the only vitamins that I've been getting. I do have a lot of food aversions as well. So one of the things about that is that when I have boys, I typically want warm food or hot food, and I get heartburn. So with the boys, with Theo, I ate a lot of tacos. With Barristan, I had a lot of poutine, and with Eli, I can't remember really what I really craved. And with the girls, I typically have cold foods like salads or fruit, especially with Avi was one that immediately after finding out I was pregnant, we had just given up our house in Ontario and we're moving across the country and driving with the children, with the 3 children. So everywhere that we stopped, thankfully that was when all the fast food places came out with salads. So I ate a lot of salads, and that's pretty much all I ate. So with this one, again, I'm not really liking the hot foods and typically going towards more cold foods, more a lot less healthy than I did with the other girls. I like ice cream typically, and freezies, although the freezies that I do have are just the fruit juice ones, so they're a lot healthier than, you know, the sugar and dye. So I'm gonna call it right now and say that it's probably a girl, although again, I don't really know for sure. But back to the morning sickness stuff. So basically I have it really bad, can't typically eat a whole lot. It's the worst at night, and it comes on rapidly, which is not good when you have a baby that doesn't sleep. And that's kind of the bad thing, is that around 8 o'clock is when it starts to get really bad, even though I try and snack throughout the day so that there's no specific time that my stomach's empty or anything like that. Typically in the morning can be the worst for morning sickness, which is where it gets its name from, because you haven't eaten anything all night, so your stomach's empty. So that's why they say that you should have like crackers or something beside your bed. But for me, it's typically at nighttime that it gets the worst. So that is not fabulous. I did end up making, our small town here doesn't sell ginger cookies, but I ended up finally making some last night, so I've been kind of snacking on those, as well as grabbing some of the Canada Dry Ginger Ale, which has like real ginger in it, so that's supposed to help as well. That was one of the things that my doctor actually told me when I called them. They said, yes, basically you probably have HG. It can hospitalize a lot of people and can make you really sick, but have you tried ginger? And that kind of blew my mind that they knew, and they said, we can't give you anything more because you're on the strongest dose of diclectin, but have you tried ginger? Now I understand that there's lots of natural remedies that do work, but that should be your first go-to, is the natural things before you start on the medications. So that was one of the things that I tried first, was ginger and ginger ale and that kind of stuff before I went on the diclectin. And I know that there is something stronger that they could very well give me, but they pretty much at this point won't. So I might have to make a call to my family doctor, who is a bit more, who I've seen a lot more, so might be more willing to prescribe me something that's a bit stronger. The other thing was that I did have my ultrasound, and baby is measuring perfect with this one. So actually it was measuring 2 days behind, which makes sense, along with getting the really light positive at 11 DPO. So that's pretty much sounds about right, which puts us at a due date of May 9th, I believe. However, I'm not sure if they'll really necessarily change it from the 7th, which is what I was at, or the 8th or the 9th. It's all around the same time, and baby doesn't care anyway. So when I was talking to my doctor about the HG, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but back to the HG, when I was talking to her about that after the ultrasound, she said that one of the things that having severe morning sickness can mean is that your baby might have a genetic disorder. So she was talking about basically around 15 to 18 weeks you can get a blood test to test for that, as well as a lot of the time there's also the NT ultrasound, which is done between 10 to 13 weeks, that measures the fold at the back of the baby's neck and a few other things like the nasal bone to see if baby might have Down syndrome, and then they use those two together to see what your risk factors might be and whether you need to do further testing like the amniocentesis and things like that. I won't be in the country probably for the 15 to 18 week blood test, and there's no way on God's green earth that I am paying to have that blood test done while I'm in the States. I probably wouldn't get that done, the blood testing done, so I asked if I could have at least the NT ultrasound done between 10 to 13 weeks, which she told me that they no longer actually do that. So apparently in Saskatchewan, they was one of the few places where they actually don't do it because the, I guess, some of the doctors that gynecologist, obstetrician, pediatrician, whatever the group that kind of makes the standards for Canada apparently says that it's not necessary or not one of the better kind of things to do. But I just found it really weird that since she had brought up, you know, you do have HG, we're not going to give you anything, you can try some ginger, and it could be that your baby has a genetic condition, and we won't really do a whole lot of testing for that. Like, there is a test that can be done while you're here, but we're not going to do it. So that kind of baffled my mind, but I guess there's not really, I'll talk to my family doctor about it and see what he thinks, but other than that, there's not really a huge push. I'm not sure that it will make much of a difference anyway, so I might just have to wait until my 18 to 20 week ultrasound, which I'm thinking I will be here or back around the 18 to 20 week mark, so I might just have to wait for that. And in the meantime, maybe get something a little bit stronger, because I know that there is something that's a bit stronger called Zofran that can help with morning sickness, which would be a good thing when I'm trying to care for 6 children, including an infant and toddler, and you know, everybody else, as well as they're switching over to their online schooling now and trying to get ready to go leave the country and working on the renovations too in the house, and then cleaning and decluttering and all that kind of stuff, that it's important to be healthier, be able to eat things, because the diclectin is an antihistamine basically with B6, so it makes you really, really tired, and having to nap, you know, 2-3 times a day doesn't work for me. I obviously can't really nap. So that's pretty much what we're at here. Just not a whole lot of changes except for the morning sickness getting worse and the ultrasound, which shows baby's okay and measuring perfectly, and the sac and everything is okay. There is only one baby. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, there's not really a whole lot. I don't generally show, and at this point baby is the size of a grape, well, raspberry, now grape, because I'm 9 weeks, and so there's, again, not really a whole lot to show. Your uterus is the size of an orange, I think it says at this point, but again, there's not really much beyond bloat, so I will probably skip the belly shot for this week and then just move on to my ginger cookies, which, like, we really need an excuse to eat more cookies.